God bless America. We need you now. God bless America. If you love her, if you love your neighbor, if you love this country, show your love. Stop them from doing what they're trying to do for almost 20 hours. We have laid out what they're trying to do, 20 hours. I want to stand more, and I will, but I'm begging people, don't let this be another normal day in America. Please, God, don't let them take Medicaid away from 10, 20, 30, or 40 million Americans who desperately need it. Don't let them do it.
She looked at me, I wish this motherfucking black nigger shut the hell up.
This executive order is for allowing people who are complaining about your tariffs to be permanently labeled as whiny, retarded, sad little bitches.
Hold it. This is a good one. Is everybody listening?
You do for fun?
I mean, it sounds kind of macabre, but I like to go to visit a country after a terrorist attack.
Okay.
After a terrorist attack, you know, the horse has already left the barn. It's cheap. I was in Istanbul after they had that bombing at the airport. So I went there.
Jesus Christ.
And there was a bus, was supposed to be 50 people. How many people do you think were on the bus?
2.
1.
You.
So I got the whole tour.
And they're like, why are you
The
here?
whole bus. And I stayed at a $300 a night hotel for $30.
Oh my gosh.
I was in Morocco after they chopped off two girls' heads off. and I was on this trail, on the same trail that they were on.
So wait, when you read the news of a terrorist attack, you're like, time to hit orbit.
You get really good deals, and the security is fantastic.
God damn it, I lost my glasses again.
Yuck! What the hell are you doing, Velma?
I'm looking for my glasses.
You could at least have the decency to put an arch in that shit.
Huh? Oh my God, gross. What is that?
That's Velma's undesirable cringe body having ass.
Ain't no way. I thought it was some sort of humanoid deformed dying rat bear giving birth. At least put an arch in that shit, Velma.
Facts! That's what I'm saying. I knew I wasn't tripping.
She's built like a wounded camel fetus.
Bitch built like a wilted crescent moon that's given up on the night sky.
Built like a sagging bridge in a children's drawing.
This is the type of shit that just pisses me off. It is face down, ass up, not ass down, face up.
Velma, look. You see how I'm busting it open?
God damn!
You gotta really lean into it and let the arch take over. Almost turn your body into a question mark. The top of your ass damn near should touch the back of your head.
I'ma put my whole head inside that tonight.
There's 70-some million people that's going to happen to. These guys don't get their act together. So it's a real good question, do they care? I think people got to understand what's going on. They have to understand that even in the House budget that came out that'll be the subject of this, and so there's actually a way to stop it that's in the hands of the Republicans right now. If just 2 or 3 of them stood up on the House floor and did what you did, Senator Booker, who they said no, and if 4 of them in the United States Senate, 4 of them stood up, 4 senators stood up, then we could have the discussion about, okay, let's make government work better, we're all in.
Oh my God. She's so drunk.
You don't have to go to hell. You're in hell. This is hell. This is hell. This is hell.
Because democracy basically means government by the people, of the people, for the people. But the people are retarded.
Then strangled them, and finally dismembered their bodies.
Right.
Then do and homelessness and all that.
And now, the voice you've been waiting for.
There is a secret song at the center of the world, and its sound is like razors through flesh. I'm here to turn up the volume.
I'm kind of retarded.
Okay, so I have to ask all of your opinions on this because I'm not 100% sure what to make of this guy, who incidentally just so happens to look exactly like what you would get if Madam Mim cast a spell on Don King, changing him into a big fat stupid baby. But I have a hard time deciding for sure whether this guy is a total waterhead and actually believes what he's saying, or if he's a political operative who's purposefully pushing out stupidity to the masses knowing exactly what he's doing. Because on the surface level, when I hear him talk, my first reaction is,
This guy is fucking stupid!
And of course, the fact that he graduated from Harvard doesn't really mean what it should as far as intelligence goes, and he's just so perfectly wrong about everything, and sort of slick in a way that makes me think,
He's full of shit!
For example, he was on The View last week, promoting his new book about how stupid American laws are, which is a premise that in a lot of ways I sort of agree with, but this is a case of being right for the wrong reasons.
One of my premises for the book is that every law passed before the 1965 Voting Rights Act should be presumptively unconstitutional, right? But because before the 1965 Voting Rights Act, we were functionally an apartheid country. Yeah. Not everybody who lived here could vote here. So why should I give about some law that some old white man passed in the 1920s?
What a great place to start. The presumption that every single law before the Civil Rights Act was written to keep down people that aren't white. And is he talking about all state laws as well as federal laws? Because that would undo the laws that they passed against dueling. Pretty sure that one didn't have much to do with race at all. And I could guarantee that the left definitely doesn't want that to come back into fashion. But what's the number one law that he mentions first every time he gets interviewed that he would like to see done away with?
Like the Immigration and Nationality Act. When they passed our fundamental immigration law, Congress said in real time that they needed the law to prevent the, quote, mongrelization of the white race by the inferior races. Now I look at that law and I say, I don't think that's so good.
Of course. Now, I don't know if Congress was actually saying what he claims they were saying at that time, but regardless, if we do away with that law, how would he like to see it rewritten? None of these people ask him that or even question it at all.
But we can dang sure make sure that we're not putting people in jail for the crime of existing. Right. That we're not putting people in jail for the crime of not filling out the form in triplicate in the right time and submitting it to the right agent. Criminal immigration status offenses should not be criminal offenses. They should be civil offenses. We shouldn't be ripping people away from their families because they didn't fill out the paperwork correctly. Right.
And the way he characterizes people coming in illegally is, oh, just because people didn't fill out the proper form in triplicate and hand it to the right person. Yes, because that's what the issue is. It's not that people are sneaking across the border or smuggling in God knows what. Their only crime is simply not filling out forms correctly.
I argue that we should eliminate all voter registration laws. Now, that might not sound realistic to you, but I promise you that it is, because we already have voter eligibility requirements, right? An eligibility requirement would be like an age limit, right? 18 to vote, I might say you should be 16, but I'm not gonna say 8. I've got an 8-year-old who does knock, but I've got an 8-year-old, right? We don't want them voting. But once you meet the eligibility requirement, why can't you automatically be registered to vote? That's right. Having the second step of voter registration needlessly suppresses the votes for no real benefit. Some people might say like, oh, it prevents voter fraud. First of all, no, it doesn't. Second of all, voter fraud doesn't exist. Right? If I say I want to go fishing somewhere and you say, you can't go fishing there. I say, why? Because the Loch Ness Monster might get you. Like that. That's shut up. That's not a good reason to have a law, right? Let's get.
You see what I mean? He says the most moronic shit, but he does it in such a slick way. Oh, people say that voter registration prevents voter fraud. First of all, no, it doesn't. Wow, good argument. Second of all, voter fraud doesn't exist. Comparing it to the Loch Ness Monster and saying that voter registration needlessly suppresses the vote. Yes, telling somebody that you are eligible to vote, but you won't be able to unless you spend all of 5 minutes registering.
Help! Help! I'm being repressed!
And believe it or not, he actually had his wackiness toned down a bit on The View. He also did Charlemagne the God's podcast last week, where he said this.
South Africa got over apartheid. Did they just go back to their Afrikaner racist constitution and be like, oh, we just need a couple of amendments. We just need a couple of changes here to make it work? No, they threw the whole thing out and started again, this time asking everybody. Wow. This time having a completely new delegation of all of the people of South Africa, not just the white folks, but not no white folks. And they came up with a new constitution. It's one of the reasons why the South African constitution is generally thought of as one of the best constitutions in the world, and ours continues to be a piece of crap.
I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
It's funny to me how he says it's generally thought of when I have never before now heard anyone say that the South African Constitution is one of the best in the world. And these white people that supposedly had a say in rewriting it, they were like, yeah, sure, just come and take our farms and kill us whenever you feel like it. But yeah, theirs is one of the best in the world, and our Constitution is a piece of crap.
You fucking retarded scumbag.
It would be a whole lot easier to tell for sure if I actually saw this guy in a debate-type setting where his views were legitimately challenged. So I don't know, what do you think? Is he a dipshit, or is he full of shit?
Good question.
I also wanted to mention this new series on Netflix, Adolescence. They even had a paid promotion on Good Morning America masquerading as a news segment on this, urging people to watch this show with their children, specifically their young adolescent boys, warning of the dangers of what's become known as the manosphere and the men's rights movement. In other words, people that have had it with the feminist movement and decided to say, fuck all the way off, and warning that if you let your son be exposed to viewpoints like that, he might end up stabbing some young girl to death, like the young boy that this show stars. I mean, after all, this is based on a true story, conveniently and brilliantly leaving out that the young boy that this true story is based on is him, an immigrant from, I believe, Uganda? Making this the first time that I'm aware of that Netflix has ever done a casting race swap, going from a person of color to a white person instead of vice versa. I wonder why that is.
That's a mystery.
And there was also the story of several people on the National Security Council getting shit-canned after Trump took a meeting with Laura Loomer.
She actually made the case for getting rid of multiple people, including Mike Waltz's deputy, who is still there. He has not been fired as of what we heard just a few hours ago. But for people who don't know who Laura Loomer is, she is this far-right activist. She spreads a lot of conspiracies. She once referenced that 9/11 was an inside job, and then Trump took her to the 9/11 memorial. But she obviously has a lot of influence with the president himself. She was a huge ally of his, a very vicious online defender of his during the campaign, and has clearly been still trying to seek that access now that he's more walled off because he's in the White House. But it shows, we asked who it was that cleared her into the White House, because you have to give Secret Service your social security number, your birthday, all of these things to come in. No one has yet said who it was that granted her access, but certainly some staffers have tried to wall her off from the president.
I love that. Oh my goodness, who gave her clearance to be able to speak to the president? I think those staffers that are trying to wall her off from him should be fucking fired, as well as whoever is doing the vetting in the official capacity. Because you know who else got fired? The head of the NSA, who was hand-picked by General Milley.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I know, that treacherous cocksucker, as well as the deputy director of the NSA, who is a protege of James Clapper, the lying piece of shit that went before Congress and lied through his teeth about the NSA spying on American citizens, which just a few months later got proven to be a lie when the Snowden revelations came out. Of course, he never faced any kind of repercussions for perjuring himself, but the way that all these different people were pitching hissy fits on CNN and MSNBC about this.
By the way, this is not about Signal. This is not about Pete Hegseth or Michael Waltz. No, this is about something else. This is because far-right conspiracy theorist Laura Loomer, who has baselessly claimed 9/11 was an inside job, told him that he should get rid of a bunch of people. Sources tell CNN that Loomer met with Trump in the Oval Office yesterday. Trump's chief of staff, Susie Wiles, and top national security advisor Mike Waltz were there. So that's why I'm telling you Mike Waltz was obviously not on the list. Loomer presented a list of about a dozen staffers, our reporters are told, and told Trump that these people were disloyal. And the president then praised Loomer when asked about CNN's reporting moments ago.
Cozying up to him at Mar-a-Lago events and even traveling with Trump on the campaign trail last year, you can see right there. Even accompanying him to a 9/11 anniversary observance in Lower Manhattan. I mean, that was quite a choice by Trump. So what was Loomer really there for? I mean, according to the New York Times, she walked into the White House with a sheaf of papers attacking the character and loyalty of numerous NSC officials. Now, to be clear, these weren't exactly rogue liberals she was attacking, not people just secretly Democrats in the rough there. I mean, a lot of these people had actually worked for the Trump administration during the first term. But Loomer said they were disloyal to Trump because they were, quote, neocons. Now, sources tell NBC News that Waltz stood up for his employees in the meeting, But remember, he's on pretty thin ice right now in the White House. But after that meeting, as the world economy was melting down from Trump's tariff announcement, the president fired at least 6 officials from the National Security Council, according to the Times. Now today, Trump said that was totally unrelated.
Well, that just goes to show you that getting rid of him was absolutely the right move. You can usually tell a whole lot about certain issues based on how key people react to it. Sort of like with Rand Paul's new bill that just passed the Senate, which, if it gets past the House and gets signed by Trump, which he would almost certainly veto, would undo the Canadian tariffs.
You gotta be shitting me.
When you put forth a bill, and the only 3 of your Republican colleagues that vote for it are Murkowski, Collins, and Turtleman Mitch McConnell, don't you just feel wrong? And it really fucking sucks, because I like Rand Paul. For a long time, he's been the senator that I have the most respect for. But when I see him up there talking about how Canada is not our enemy, and we shouldn't have tariffs with them, we should have free trade.
You sound like an asshole!
That would be a very logical and principled position, if it weren't for the fact that Canada already has a bunch of fucking tariffs on us. So if we just ignore that and go back to they have tariffs on us but we don't have tariffs on them, that's free fucking trade? Somebody please make it make sense.
And that's all I have to say about that.
And, of course, I've got to mention the big story of the week, Liberation Day. Or as the Rothschilds publication The Economist calls it, the commencement of Trump's mindless tariffs. And seeing these shitbags talk about how it's gonna cause economic havoc, and his reading of history is upside down, and his assertions are flat-out nonsense, and his grasp of the technicalities of the tariffs he was announcing was pathetic.
Fuck you.
Well, all that just goes to reassure me that this is absolutely the best possible move. And sure, this is causing a lot of turmoil in the stock markets. You had the big 3 U.S. indexes down 4%, 5%, and 6% on the day, respectively. But honestly, I'm surprised it wasn't more, considering all the fear that the media was pumping out. But of course this is gonna fucking hurt. Our regulatory, fiscal, and economic policies have been steering us towards a fucking cliff and a spectacular crash for decades and decades. So turning all that around isn't gonna be without its share of problems. But I do believe that if there is anybody that is capable of successfully navigating us through this and away from that cliff, this is the man for the job. And sure, you've got some countries trying to act tough right now, like China immediately turning around and announcing that we're gonna have retaliatory tariffs on you then. Again, as if you didn't already have tariffs on us. But sure, go ahead and raise the tariffs on US goods that you don't buy. That's gonna work out real well. And hopefully they come to their senses and say, okay, alright, let's make a deal, we'll lower the tariffs on you and you lower the tariffs on us. But they're acting like they're ready to just say fuck it and go to war with us. After Pete Hegseth went on his little Asia trip of the Philippines and Japan, where he announced that we're going to be selling 20 F-16 jets to the Philippines and strengthening our military ties with Japan, China decided, oh, this would be a good time to do a surprise military drill, completely encircling and doing a practice blockade of Taiwan. Because one of the things that Hegseth also announced is that we will defend Taiwan. And regardless of how I feel about that, the Thucydides trap is something that we have to deal with. China is imperialistic and expansionist the way that a lot of the neocon war pigs like to pretend that Russia is. And if we don't stop relying on the Chinese to make everything from our little cheap goods to our pharmaceuticals, then we will get totally fucked. And I'm also hoping that these people that got fired from the National Security Council are the ones that have been trying to tell Trump that we need to just go ahead and bomb Iran's nuclear targets. Prior to those firings happening, we had a lot of C-17 cargo jets flying down from Germany to Qatar, and regardless of what you think of the Iranian government, striking those targets would be an incredibly stupid fucking move, and it would bring the opposite of peace and stability. So hopefully that does not happen. But if you do hear news that we've launched a bunch of major strikes deep within Iran, you better go ahead and throw on your shitting pants. You know why?
Because all fucking hell is gonna break loose.
Sláinte.
All I have in this world is my thoughts and my words, and I don't break them for no one. You understand? So say good night. So say good night to the bad guy. So say good night. So say good night to the bad guy. good night. So say good night to the bad guy.